Let's start with the obvious theory. Babies stare because their vision is limited, and faces are simply the most interesting thing nearby. Sounds reasonable. Newborns do have a narrow visual range, roughly the distance from your arms to your face when you're holding them. Early on, a face really is one of the clearest things in their world. But here's the problem with that theory. By around 3 months, babies can already look at practically anything in the room. The window, the ceiling, the dog crossing the floor, the light on the wall, the laundry in the corner. And they still keep choosing your face. That is not just limited vision. That is preference. Your baby is not only looking at what is easiest to see, they are turning toward what matters most to read. In 2017, a research team at Cambridge set out to measure something most people would never think to look for during a baby's stare. Not attention, not affection, synchronization. Using a brain imaging method called functional near-infrared spectroscopy, they tracked neural activity in both infants and adults during face-to-face interaction. What they wanted to know was whether mutual gaze changed anything inside the brain. It did. When a baby locks eyes with you, their neural rhythms begin to align more closely with yours. Not metaphorically, measurably. 2 different brains, 2 different stages of development, beginning to fire in more coordinated patterns during direct eye contact. They tested what happened when the adult looked away. The effect dropped. They tested a more neutral expression. Some synchronization remained, but it was weaker. Mutual gaze produced the strongest coupling. That is the part that changes the meaning of the stare. Your baby is not just looking at your face. They are using your face as a live source of timing, response, and emotional information. For a developing brain, that matters. It gives structure to the moment, a rhythm to organize around. In very simple terms, your baby is borrowing your face to help organize their own state. That stare is not passive observation. It is one brain reaching toward another and learning from what it finds there. But babies do not stare at every face for the same reason. That is where this gets more precise. In one simple set of infant studies, researchers showed babies 2 faces, a stranger's face and the face of their primary caregiver. And at first, the result sounds backwards. The babies often looked longer at the stranger. That seems like it should mean the stranger mattered more. It doesn't. Longer looking is not always preference. Sometimes it is processing. Cognitive researchers call this a violation of expectation response. Babies look longer at what they have not fully understood yet. The stranger's face is newer, less mapped, less predictable. It asks for more decoding. Your face does not do that in the same way. By that point, your baby has already spent hundreds, then thousands of small moments studying you. Your eyes, your mouth, the way your face changes before your voice does. The difference between tension and calm, between delight and distraction, between a smile that reaches the eyes and one that doesn't. So when your baby stares at you, they are not staring because you are a mystery. They are staring because you are information. By the middle of the first year, babies are already using that information constantly. They watch your face to figure out what a moment means. If your expression tightens, they pause. If you brighten, they lean forward. If you stay calm, they are more likely to keep exploring. Developmental psychologists call this social referencing, but in plain language, it means your baby is using your face to decide how to respond to the world in front of them. That is why the stare feels so intense. It is not empty attention. It is real-time reading. Your baby is not just looking to see if you are there. They are looking to see what this moment is, whether it feels safe, and how their own body should respond inside it. There is an experiment in developmental psychology that made researchers deeply uncomfortable. Not because it was dramatic, but because the response was so immediate. It is called the still face experiment. The setup is simple. A parent interacts normally with an infant, smiling, talking, responding. The baby is engaged, alert, watching the face closely, because that face is still part of the conversation. Then, on cue, the parent stops. The face goes blank. No smile, no response. eyes open but emotionally absent. What happens next is the part no one forgets. The baby notices almost immediately. First, they try to bring the parent back. A bigger smile, more movement, a sound, a reach. The same signals that usually work. Nothing. So they try harder. The gestures get bigger. The effort becomes more urgent. Because for the baby, this is not a small change in mood. It is a break in the pattern they were expecting. The conversation was there. Then, suddenly, it wasn't, and their body reacts to that loss. Within a short time, many infants begin to show clear stress. Some cry, some fuss. Some go strangely quiet and flat, almost mirroring the blankness in front of them. When the parent re-engages, recovery usually comes fast, but not instantly. That experiment changed how psychologists understood early development. Babies are not passive recipients of care. They are active participants in an emotional exchange that is happening almost entirely through the face. That stare is not admiration. It is not nothing. It is a bid for connection, response, and regulation. Your baby is not just watching you. They are trying to keep the conversation alive. There is one more layer to this that almost never gets explained outside academic circles. Your baby is not only using your face to feel connected in the moment, they are also building something from those repeated moments of response. Researchers studying early infant development have found that babies who receive more contingent face-to-face interaction in the first months of life, meaning their cues are noticed, answered, and reflected back, tend to show stronger development in the brain systems involved in regulation, planning, and social understanding later on. That matters more than it sounds, because those long stares are not isolated events. They happen again and again. Your baby looks, you respond. Their expression shifts, you mirror it. They settle, brighten, pause, or try again. And over time, the brain begins to treat that pattern as structure. That is how small moments become architecture. Your baby is learning that signals can be sent, that feelings can be shared, that confusion can be organized, that another person can help make sense of what is happening. So when you hold their gaze, respond to their expression, or let your face stay available long enough for them to read it, you are not just bonding. You are helping build the system they will later use to regulate, relate, and think. There is also a warning here, and it is one worth taking seriously. If a baby consistently avoids eye contact, does not track faces well, seems to look past people rather than at them, or rarely uses the face as a point of reference, that is not something to dismiss too quickly. It does not automatically mean something is wrong. Babies develop at different speeds, and one moment alone never tells the whole story. But patterns matter. Early social signals matter. And if something about your baby's gaze feels persistently off to you, it is worth bringing up early, while the brain is still in its most flexible stage of development. Trust that instinct, so the next time your baby stares into your face and seems to hold there longer than feels normal, remember what may actually be happening. They are not just looking at you. They are reading you, organizing around you, using your face to learn what this moment means, what safety feels like, and how connection works. If that changed the way you see your baby stare, subscribe and leave a comment below.